Tic Tacs are these things that exist, so I spent a borderline psychotic amount of time making them the most over-engineered and mechanically dense box that I was capable of designing, and this is how I did it. Before fully committing to this project, I want to make a simple prototype to check if my idea actually works. Now I'm going to use the laser cutter a lot in this video, and I know a lot of you aren't big fans of a laser because it takes away from the whole handmade aspect of my projects, but in my opinion the laser isn't just a quick shortcut to make your work easier, it can also be used to make things that would otherwise be impossible. And I personally think it's a lot more interesting to spend your time creating the most complicated and interesting things possible using whatever tools you have access to. Okay, fine, it's just a lazy excuse. Look, I was gonna make this thing by hand, but I've broken all of my scroll saw blades, and the only place where I was able to order replacements from was AliExpress. So those are gonna arrive in like 3 to 5 business months, but in the meantime, I'm gonna use my laser a lot. Twist the top and it opens up. Twist the bottom and a Tic Tac comes out. The Tic Tacs are separated by these dividers here, and they get pushed towards the center by the spiral cam. As the Tic Tacs from the inner ring get dispensed, the ones from the outer one take their place. At least that's how it works in theory, but in practice they often fall over and get stuck a lot, and they also taste like charcoal. In other words, pathetic. But it gives me enough confidence for the final product. Look at how cool this one looks. There is one thing I really don't like about this project. It's forcing me to confront one of my arch nemesis. The pentagon. Objectively the worst polygon ever invented. This iris has 5 blades, so making the box pentagon shaped was really the only thing that made sense. But what's with all the hate? Well, have you ever tried drawing a hexagon? Just draw a circle and without adjusting your compass, divide it into 6 parts and connect the lines. To draw a pentagon, you have to draw a circle, then draw another circle bisecting it, creating a point, draw a line going through points A and C, draw lines through B and C. This creates a new point. Let's call it Henry. Draw another circle starting from point B. Now use the distance between points F and Henry to divide the circle into 5 uneven parts. I think polygons are like the Shrek movies. The first one, timeless classic. The sequel, arguably just as good. The third, steaming pile of garbage. And the fourth, my personal favorite, yet criminally underrated. Probably because of the bad aftertaste left by the third one. Hexagons are the bestagons. Even Mother Nature agrees with me. Just look at honey, ice, those weird alien rocks. Catan. And in the meantime, what good did the Pentagon ever accomplish? Oh, steal a bunch of crude oil? Well, this is as far as the laser is going to take me for now. I'm going to have to make the remaining pieces the old-fashioned way. Blah, blah, blah. Your table saw is a disaster. Yeah, you've got a point. I was going to buy a new Makita, but then I blew all my money on the sweet camera. Overpriced background blur. I'm pretty sure just looking at this thing is an OSHA violation and probably a war crime, but I still love it just the same. So stop telling me how to use my equipment, okay? I'm a full-grown adult who can make his own responsible decisions. Right, buddy? Yeah, I see buddy agrees. I'm just so sick and tired of people always telling me what and what not to do all the time. Like, oh, maybe you should at least consider a more stable career path like going to university. Or, you can't park here, sir, this is a handicap spot. Or how they always go, I'm with the IRS and we're here to investigate you for criminal tax evasion. You know what I mean? Can't you just let me live my life? Is that too much to ask for? Well, would you look at what just came in the mail? The only time I don't want a package to arrive on time and it arrives like a month early. Absolutely not. I am not remaking these parts by hand. Well, except for these ones, because these are going to be in contact with the Tic Tacs and I do not want them to be burnt. Well, no wonder this thing was trying to kill me. The blade was set to Australian mode. Some of the parts I need to make are very thin and fragile, and normal plywood is just way too thick for them. So I'm gonna have to make my own plywood out of a super thin veneer. Now veneer becomes insanely strong when you glue it together, even if it's just 2 layers. It's like the woodworking equivalent of carbon fiber. Also, I understand that this video might be a bit hard to follow because I'm just making all of these parts in non-chronological order, but I swear it will all make sense in the end. I know I don't have the best track record when it comes to safety, but you have to believe me, this one was not my fault. I somehow managed to get injured using a machine that's less dangerous than a newborn kitten. I was just feeding a piece of wood through it, and it had like a gag reflex where it kicked it back out. Only a few centimeters, but enough to put a scratch on my finger and apparently hit one of my vital arteries because it was bleeding like crazy. This part's a bit tricky. Normally to make it, I'd make a cylinder and then glue those teeth things on top. But when making things at such a small scale, you often notice that it's better to just do the whole process backwards to make things easier for yourself. I never got the hang of adjusting my bandsaw guide bearings, and now they're completely worn out, and they make the bandsaw sound like an animal getting slaughtered. So nowadays I just turn up the music really loud to the point where I can't even hear them, and it really makes it feel like the problem isn't even there.
Behold, there goes pride. All that I was is gone. Oh, I paid my price. I had to run for my life. Believe me, pass me by. Lean on the wind and ride. Ain't no life for me here. I trust on the wind and slide. This cold land, everyone stands alone. Curse is long day, every day from me. Pass me by, trust in the wind and slide. For me, I'll go with the wind and ride.
So normally you apply the finish when the project is finished. But I want to add some contrast by coloring different parts of it different colors. Of course, the best way to do this is by using 2 different types of wood that are contrasting colors. But here in Lithuania, the types of colors that tend to be available to us are usually white, yellowish white, and dark white. So I've got to improvise. Big thank you to Buzz, Roman, Ethios, and Samuel from Patreon for financing the purchase of this rotary tool. Your support really does mean a lot to me, especially considering that my last project got demonetized. Yay. I really wish I was recording this. I was using this tool to expand this part, and it, oh my goodness, it just disintegrated into 5 different parts. I think every woodworker has experience solving this type of puzzle. If you remember, I had this problem with the Tic Tacs falling over, and I solved it by separating this spiral into 2, the top one and the bottom one, and now they don't fall over anymore. Uh-oh. So far you've seen the opening, the rotating chamber, and the housing, which by the way, I really love the way this looks. But there's another important component. This is the indexing mechanism, or rather just a prototype. Remember with the old version you had to twist the bottom to use the box? I think this is really primitive. So I designed this mechanism to take a button press and turn it into a rotation, or rather 1/10 of it, because there are 10 rows of Tic Tacs. The only problem is that this only works when I apply some friction to it. So I'm gonna fix this by adding another set of ratchets going in the opposite direction. As usual, I had to make countless little adjustments and redesigns because nothing ever works first try. But what makes this project even more stressful than all of my other ones is that because of how compact and mechanically dense it is, it makes it almost impossible to design in such a way that allows you to disassemble it. Meaning if it doesn't work after the final assembly, you'll have to break it to take it apart. So I had to test every part individually and just hope that it will all work together in the end. No way. It works so well. Okay, they fell over because it's not covered properly. Oh. I really love the way this box turned out. It's a bit different from all my other projects as the main focus with this one was aesthetics. And I think from now on I'll try to prioritize the way my projects look a lot more. Of course only as long as it doesn't compromise on the mechanical side of things. The only question now is, why did I make this thing? I don't even like Tic Tacs. Also, happy Valentine's Day.